Hey Rip City, this is Jrue Holiday, and you're listening to The Blazers Balcony with Brooke Olzendam and Casey Holdahl.
Greetings, Trailblazer fans, and welcome to The Blazers Balcony, live to tape from Salt Lake City. Episode 146 of The Blazers Balcony, presented by our friends at Spirit Mountain Casino. I am your co-host, Casey Holdahl. I'm joined by my co-host and friend, Brooke Olzendam. Brooke, how are you doing?
I am doing well, Casey. Thank you so much. Funny story, I know that you wanted to play pickleball when we got into town today.
Yes.
In Salt Lake City, and so I wanted that for you.
Thank you.
And it was a beautiful day.
I was trying to play in LA the entire time. I got kicked out of a court. Mm-hmm. I had this whole plan to try to play at a private court, and it just didn't work out.
Well, I'm glad it worked out today.
Thank you.
So I had some time before we did this, and rewind to LA. You guys have had a number of people who saw that we were in LA and knew we were in LA. So they asked if I'd seen Amara. Just to let you know, I did get a chance to see Mara. She misses you all. And I told her that I got a bunch of messages. Tell Amara hi. So went out to dinner with her at a place called, and I'd never heard of it, Sol Agave. It's right across the street from her hotel. So I leave a little bit early, not knowing that I was like a minute away. Right. So I got there early, walk in, it's bumping. It was like, whoa, this place is awesome. And I realized I'm 50 minutes early. So I look over and I see Dale and Chris, and they haven't ordered yet, but I just walk over and I say, can I stay with you a couple minutes before Amara gets here? And Dale says to me, this is my secret spot. This is my favorite. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really? I've never even heard of it. Amara chose it. He's like, no. And then he just went, like, literally kind of went through the entire menu. Like, you could get this. This is so good. This is so great. And I've never seen him so excited about something other than Blazers basketball. It was like, he was pumped. I'm like, well, I'm so glad I stopped by you for this 5 minutes. So I ordered what he told me to order. Amara got something. It was great. It was fun. I loved it. Chips were amazing. I was like, Dale's right. This place is awesome. Then he tells me there's one in Salt Lake right next to where we're staying down there.
Yeah, I feel like I recognized the name at least. Yeah.
I hadn't. I don't know where I've been, under a rock. But so I'm like, oh, I have a couple hours. I'm going to go down to Sol Agave in here in Salt Lake. So I went down, kind of unloaded my purse so it's not so heavy. And it's chilly out there, but you know how I am with cold, but it's okay.
You're not great. And I also did clock too when I was getting on the bus. I was like, we have a lot of stuff in her bag right now.
I had so much stuff in my bag. So I took as much out of it as I could. Walking down, I walk in, again, it's a little chilly, but I make it. I'm like, the walk home's going to be a little worse, but it's fine. I'm going to have some soup. I knew what I wanted because I was eyeing the soup a couple days ago. So I go in and sit down, and I go to grab my wallet, and my wallet's on my purse. It had been one of the many things I took out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did this walk and I can't eat. I'm so mad. And then I started thinking, everyone talks about using their phone with their card and their wallet, Apple Pay. I use Apple Pay, but only like when I order things online on my phone. I've never tried to actually use it. So I walk up to it's a very sweet gal at the bar. I'm like, can I do a test with you? And she's like, what do you mean? I go, can I buy a Diet Coke and you just see? I've never done this before. And she's like, oh yeah. So she brings me a Diet Coke, but I don't touch it. And I take it out of I click my wallet and my debit card comes out. I'd never done this before. So I'm sure everyone listening is like, you dummy. We all do this.
I have not really done this.
Okay, phew.
So I'm right there.
So she's like, just put it up. So I just put my phone right up to, the little handheld to do, and it beeps. And then I look it up. I'm like, no way. And there's this little thing. And then you click on the side like I do when I'm ordering.
Right. Yeah.
And then it goes through. And then I put in the tip. I'm like, oh my gosh, crisis averted.
Now you're set.
I was so excited. I mean, it's the little things in life. So then I sat down and I ordered my soup. The chips were amazing. And I just paid with my phone. And I was like, this went from the worst thing. Like, I was so mad. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I walked all the way down here to, I've now learned how to do something on my phone in case I do it again. Hopefully, knock on wood, I won't. But it was so funny. I went from like so mad to so excited. Like, you should just, it's like I invented something. I was like, no way, this is
fire.
Amazing.
Yeah, you discovered it. Yeah.
And it was the most gleeful late lunch, early dinner I've ever had because I didn't think I was going to have it.
Well, yeah, to go from like going somewhere and then being like, crap, now I'm not going to be able to do this. That's a bummer. Yeah. So the fact that you were able to, while also learning a new technology that I agree. Like, I just feel weird about having, I know this is an old person thing and I guess that's just where we're at now, but like having my like credit card or debit card data in my phone just feels unsafe to me. It's stupid. I'm sure it's not, but yeah, I'm the same way. I do have it in there, but I really like avoid using it.
Well, next time we go somewhere together, we'll just have a trial run.
We'll try it. Yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned that too, because Calabro went to the sandwich spot that I told him to go to, and he only had his credit card, and he gets to the counter and it says, we only accept debit and cash. And
I would have been really mad.
To leave. And I even told, I was like, Kevin, what I would have done in that situation is I'd have been like, hey, does anyone here have Venmo?
Yeah,
like,
good
you
call.
pay for my sandwich, I will Venmo you the money right now. Because
with interest.
Exactly. And I'll give you a little something for the trouble. Because I'm not getting a sandwich, 1, and 2, I can't walk all the way back and get my stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also too, it's also like it's Italian deli / grocery store. How do they not accept credit cards in Santa Monica?
That is interesting.
And also if you're taking debit cards, I mean, I guess it's we get charged a fee thing, but also it's like, you guys are charging like $15 for a sandwich. You can spring for the 2 cents that Visa is going to charge you, or make me pay for it. That's fine. I don't care. At least take my credit.
No, I agree. The best part is that he ended up going to Jersey Mike's.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like you lost that business at Jersey Mike's because they sure as heck will take your credit card.
You did say it was a very good sandwich. Jersey Mike's is great, but when you're like your heart is set on like a, like just like fresh, just you can only get it here kind of sandwich, like a spot that everyone was telling you about, and you get there.
The grandma's sandwich at Bay City Deli, the Matt Damon's favorite sandwich.
Oh,
so there you go.
My apologies to Matt Damon
for you. Yeah, I bet if he comes in with just a credit card,
I think they probably just give it to him.
Yeah. Though I always wonder too when I'm at restaurants in Los Angeles, my first assumption is always like, I wonder if they're picking up food for a celebrity. Like I did that like 3 times when I was getting a sandwich today somewhere else. I was like,
that's funny, because
I was like, you look too rich to be here picking up sandwiches.
Oh, like it's assistant or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when we were at the place in LA, the Sol Agave, and not many of our listeners maybe will know who this is, so I'll make it quick. But I look over and I go, because there was like a party it was a big, huge room. It looked like a rehearsal dinner, and they were having a ball. It was a ton of people in there, like people giving speeches. And these 3 women walked in, and I'm like, that's. And I don't really freak out, like. In our business, we see a lot of people, but there's like certain people in certain areas that like, I'm like, wow, I love that person. And it was, and Amara looks, she goes, I don't know who that is. I go, Harvest. She's like, what does that mean? I go, she's like a very famous chef. She's like the most famous chef. But I was like having a blank, and I'm like, Harvest. She looks up Half-Baked Harvest. And it was Tegan who started Half-Baked Harvest.
Okay.
This will mean nothing to you, but she is a multi-million. I mean, she has like come from like making stuff, like in her small kitchen at her family's barn. And then she opened up the barn into she's an amazing success story, and she has an amazing family. And she was there. And that was one of the few people I would have a little freak out over. So Mara, she's really good at taking secret pictures. So she got a secret picture, and I sent it to my friend who got me into Tegan, and it was really kind of blurry, but it was still good. She goes, who am I supposed to know who that is? I'm like, yes. She goes, Kendall Jenner? I was like, no, not Kendall Jenner. I'm not taking a picture of sending. It's Tegan. She goes, even better. I was like, thank you. So anyways, I got my one celebrity sighting, and like many people won't know who she is, but she's my favorite chef.
So I thought for a half second you were going to say Ina Garten, and
I would have really freaked out over Ina Garten.
Ina Garten, and did not mention that
to
me.
Contessa.
I would be very mad.
I would never withhold that from you.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you would. Which, by the way, too, real fast, and I want you to be honest about this. Did you not invite me to dinner because I was such a jerk about the dinner in Boston?
Where were you? I don't even know.
With Amara.
No.
That's been weighing on me a little bit. So I was like, I bet Brooke doesn't want to go to dinner with me anymore because I was such a whiny jerk when we were in Boston that one.
I mean,
I know I'm not going to dinner with you with your friend in Boston anymore, but it did cross my mind. I was like, maybe she's like, we're not going out with Casey. It's too.
I forgot about
too much
that.
Of a problem.
No, that was not it. That was not it. No, I mean, Amara.
And it doesn't matter as long as it's not that. That's all I care about.
No,
I don't care.
I forgot about that.
You were a bit
whiny that day, though.
Oh no, I was beyond whiny. If I would use other words to explain my behavior if this wasn't a podcast.
Honestly, I had not thought about it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, good.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Well, we should think about the Portland Trailblazers, who have played some pretty dang good basketball in their first week of the 2025-26 season, which, by the way, too, right before we started recording, or when I was kind of typing out what we were going to do, I was like, wait a minute. It's only been a week?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
We've got a lot of basketball in.
We played a lot of basketball. A lot of stuff has happened. Like, I was like, the season couldn't have just started last week, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, that was last week, Casey. So yes, the Blazers have played quite a few basketball games, 4 basketball games to be exact, with another on the way here in Salt Lake City, Utah. But they were at 2-2, and all the games close. All the games, arguably, games Blazers could have. I wouldn't say necessarily should have won.
I would.
But definitely, if they had done a few things differently, they could be undefeated right now. And so, but even in those losses, like played really well, saw the exact kind of stuff you wanted to see. They're really, every year, every team comes into training camp saying, we want to play faster. Everyone always says they want to play faster. And then, there's always like, we want to, whatever your emphasis is for that team, we want to crash the glass more. We want to turn the ball over less. We want to do X, Y, and Z. And, you try, but a lot of times, like, you set out to do something and then it doesn't really pan out, at least.
Best laid plans.
Exactly. That is not the case in terms of the Trailblazers. Like, they are doing the exact things that they said that they were working on in training camp, the exact things that they said they want to do, playing faster, picking up full court, being aggressive, extending the rotation out, playing guys more minutes because we want guys to get up and down and really like go hard the entire time, getting shots up faster. I think it was the Haberstat was like the Blazers are taking the fastest shot in the NBA right now. Great offense, great defensively as well. There's all kinds. They're number one in steals. Offensive rebounds, they're 7th. They're 9th in threes. They're 2nd in fouls, which is great because they had such a hard time fouling during preseason. I kind of assumed that was going to be an issue during the regular season, at least through the first 4 games. They have been the second best team in the NBA in terms of not fouling, only behind the Lakers, who are the Lakers. So they're always going to, they're the Lakers. So really, I just think a lot of real reason to be, and I think we've kind of, at least I felt this from fans, like really enthusiastic about the way the first week of the season has gone. And because again, like you always hear teams say they're going to try to do things and they kind of fall by the wayside, or there's like reasons why it didn't happen. At least in this situation, it feels like it is happening, which I think is really gratifying.
Couldn't agree more. And to the point about not fouling as much, and on the flip side of that, against the Clippers, we went to the line 34 times, made 20. I mean, it was like the discrepancy I was jumped off the box score. But yeah, everything that we talked about in training camp, we watched it because we were, watching, and you can see like they're getting closer and closer. And, the Tumanis, Matisses of the world, it comes to them naturally. But other guys like, no, I'm getting into that. That's our mentality. That's what we do now. This is what other teams know us as. And you and I were talking about it earlier, and I talked about it in the broadcast, how the opponents are, I don't recall so many comments from opponents after games. And then the other night, last night you spoke with JJ Redick and all of these coaches and other players are noticing. And that's huge to me. We can say as, people that are to follow the team that are there at every single game, we see things because we watch everything. But I mean, Ant Edwards first night afterwards said, you can't come in and just expect to win.
Opening night, Blazers lose 118-114 to the Timberwolves in a game that the Blazers controlled for much of the game. They got Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, he just was himself.
He just did his thing.
But he said that, which was awesome. And then Steve Kerr had a very long answer about and he just went, and it was funny. He went over all the things you just said, like the things that the team is working on. He named them all. It's like, coaches know they can see what the other coach is trying to do. And he was like complimenting the team on how they are completely doing what is asked of them. And like, that's really become their calling card. Really nice things from Steve Kerr. And then when you talk to, ask JJ Redd about it, same. And then Tumani was obviously specific, but it's just nice to see like other people are paying attention. I've seen so many things on social media, like the team to watch out for, don't sleep on the Blazers, which we started here a little bit more towards the end of last season. Yeah. But I mean, 4 games in and we're already starting to hear that. I think that's just wonderful. And to sit back and watch like that second quarter the other night where Blake Wesley was just a demon. Matisse had that. I mean, that was like, what, this was crazy. I mean, I was just like looking around like, is everyone else seeing this? Yeah. This is like beautiful. This is inspiring. And then afterwards, Thiago Splitter was asked, is that something like you can expect? I mean, that was a crazy quarter. Is that something you want to see like throughout the game? He's like, I know we can do that. That's something, yes, I expect. He goes, you will never see us not play to our full potential. Yeah. I don't know if you said exactly that.
I think he said you basically
expect
like, we're
this from
compete.
Us every night. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I loved it. And he meant, he's like, expect us to play at this level every time, every night. We're not taking nights off. And it's just been really fun to watch these guys come together and talking with, we're talking with Donovan pregame we talked with Jrue Holiday, which I'm sure we'll get to before the Lakers win. And it's just so much fun to hear them talk about each other, talk about, well, we're connected. The togetherness was last year and connected, and it just remains and it continues this season. And for them to say, the things they say about each other, you can say, oh, the locker room's great, and there have been times where you say it for the most part, it is, but like I really mean when I say like the locker room is connected and they have each other's backs. It's truly a team first mentality, and it's been so much fun to watch. It's the kind of basketball that you really sit back and like, this is the style, the type of basketball that it's enjoyable to watch. And you can't say that they're not out there, like literally putting their bodies on the line.
Yeah, no. And I think I had mentioned that maybe on the radio the other day that, it takes a while for a perception to kind of, to change basically. And I think the perception of the Blazers was that like, they can score some points sometimes, but they're not good defensively. And so if you just stick with it and like really kind of make them play defense throughout the course of the game, you're going to be able to win that game. And that already has been changing the last few years, but it's like, at least in the first 4 games of this season, it is completely flipped. Like the Blazers, if anything, like could probably use a little bit more offense, but like the defense is ridiculous right now. And like they're playing so hard, and I think they really figured out like the whole idea in the NBA, and this is kind of a new NBA thing where it's just like, look, just get your 5 good defenders out on the court. Like whatever position they're at, they'll just figure it out when they're out there. Like, and granted, if you're playing a team that has like Wemby, you can't do that. Sure. But like, the idea that like, do Matisse and Chris and Deni and Jerami and Shaden, they all kind of play the same position. Yeah. But like, they're all switchable enough to where like they can defend other guys, and they just caused a whole lot of problems for the opposing team because like, and God, I didn't even mention Tumani, like the head of the snake in terms of the defense. So like the fact that they're able to just throw so many guys out there right now who are all really good defenders up to elite all NBA defense defenders, like I think teams are starting to recognize that, and particularly players too, because like they know that like I'm not getting any rest out here on offense. Like these guys are picking me up the entire time. They're being physical with me. I'm like, if you're not a natural ball handler playing the Blazers right now,
I hated
don't
that.
bring the ball up because like they're not going to let you slide on just like getting the ball over half court. Like they're going to make you work for that. And it's just a fun style of basketball too, because again, it's like, I think, everyone likes to see scoring, but I think for Blazer fans especially, it's like, we want to see
that's their bread and butter.
And like getting into guys and like, we want to grind and gritty and scrappy, like, and that's the way they're playing, and it's really working right now. And you talk about like Matisse, especially. I know we're going to talk about some other things, but like Matisse is ridiculous right now. Like when he gets out there, like that Clipper game. I know Chris Paul is, he was getting towards the end.
I loved it,
but that play where like Matisse is defending Chris Paul, and you can tell Chris Paul's getting pissed off about it, and he like pushes off on Matisse to like create some space, and Matisse like kind of over exaggerates, kind of falling back, so the pass gets thrown to Chris Paul, and Matisse right away was like, nah, and just like he baited him into like doing that, and then just tipped it away and got a layup, and it was like.
And he did the same thing sorry, I'm not stealing from you. But then he did that same thing where he sloughed off a little bit. Yeah. And he went around him and he poked it out from James Harden,
which they didn't give him a steal for that play, by the way. And I've been bitching and moaning about that for a minute now. Like, Matisse defensively is playing like a really good offensive player would play. So, like, I'm not going to say Steph Curry necessarily, but like that kind of like dynamic ability to affect a game on the defensive end, though. And like he, like I said, his defensive rating in the Clipper game, played 15 minutes, was like 63, which is ridiculous. That means that when Matisse was on the floor, the opposing team was scoring 63 points per 100 possessions, which is almost basically 0.5 points per possession, which is terrible. Like And the next best guy was Blake Wesley, who was really good in that game. And it was at 95, which is still a great defensive rating. But Matisse's was 30 points better.
Wow.
It's like for him, like having sat out all that time and like really, I don't think people really recognized like how pissed off Matisse was about not being able to play. Like, cause he's such kind of like a cool, like, seems like he's an easygoing guy. Seems like he's really not. Like,
he's a competitor.
Yeah.
He was 5 fouls away from fouling out of a game he didn't play in.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Matisse getting the technical in that one, which by the way, I'm not even going to get that.
No, I know.
That game had, I don't know what was going on in parts of that game. Like I've never stopping play and saying like that wasn't a 3-pointer and then not saying anything to anyone other than take the points off the board.
Yeah.
It's like
I was 3 people down from you and you were
hot. I was exactly.
Well, understandable. Like you're like, let's go. Like at least explain it
or
to
at least
her.
Explain what's happening. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're like, hey, we're reviewing a play, then fine. Even though again, like I thought you were only supposed to review those kind of things like at dead balls, like not.
There was some confusion.
Either way,
but that's what you're saying is that Matisse really wanted to play, and so he was putting his stamp on the game, even though he couldn't get it. But I think you're right. And Blake Wesley, I mean, we've talked about him a lot on the broadcast too. Not just that quarter, but you put him out there. Let's say he takes the place of Matisse. Let's just say that. Of course, no one can take the place of Matisse, but you're still confident that he's going to get out there and annoy the heck out of whoever's bringing the ball down, whoever he's defending. I just remember playing, back in the day, like when we'd be playing in high school, whatever level, and it was a close game towards the end. And, we weren't talented enough to really like press a lot, but when it was like tied with a couple of minutes, the other team started pressing. I was like, no, this sucks so bad. They're doing it the whole game.
Yeah, some leagues have rules that are like, you can't full court press until you like reach a certain age.
Hated that. Like, this isn't fun. I get out of you're too close to me. I can't see. I'm trying, that's the whole point of the pressing. And that was just like in the last couple minutes. And this is happening in the entire game. Chris Paul was getting so frustrated. Yeah. I mean,
again, that's one of those games where you're like, should I still be doing this? Like, I think everyone gets to a point in their career where they're like, has this passed me by? Like, is it time?
We've been on one of those plays. He just takes his shoes off. He's
exactly.
like,
hey, that's all right. The great run. And, obviously one of the best things to do it. But, time is undefeated.
Well, and I'm just saying, you're doing something right. And one of the best players in that position of all time is like looking at you like, what, get out of my grill.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these guys are saying. Back to the opponents talking about the defense that they're seeing from the Blazers. It's becoming a thing around the league. Like, well, you can't just walk in and expect. And I think you're right about for a long time, the Blazers were, shooting threes, which obviously still a huge part of the game, but offensively a juggernaut and, working on the defense. I think there's something we said for a defense first team that leads to offense to get it going. And then it's inspiring when you continue to see defense, like just getting after it. And then I don't know, it's almost like you're more at ease on the offensive end. Yeah. And it goes back to the pace too, that they want to play with. If you're getting out and getting steals and then offensively you're trying to run. It's just, if you get into a zone, if you get into like a groove, which I feel like is going to happen offensively, it starts with the defense. If they continue to play at that level, I truly believe the offense will come. Shots will start falling. Shaden was getting back into Shadenville against the Lakers, which was great. And we'll talk more about that.
His offense is going to
come. Yeah, no one's worried about that. But it was nice to see that. So it's only going to get better, really. I mean, because shots, sometimes you have off nights, but defensively, you say we're not having an off night defensively. Yeah. So offense will come, and then that's going to even be more fun to watch because it's been really fun so far. And there have been some shortcomings offensively, but when they get those straightened out and shots start falling, off and running.
Yeah, I just to take it back to Blake Wesley real fast. That in the JJ Redick press conference, when he was like, that is not the Blake Wesley that was in San Antonio for the last 2 years. Like, he's like, I don't know who this guy is. That is not the same guy.
Like, he's in the situation
way
he should be.
Different. Yeah. So like, and I think that's one of those things too, where it's like, you're on the team, you're obviously trying your best. It doesn't work out, you get cut, and then at that point in time, you're like, wait a minute, like, again, is that it? Like, am I going to be one of those guys that jumps around now? And so like, he's playing great for the Blazers, and I mean, again, it's 4 games, but like, there's a lot of guys on this team that I think other teams are going to be looking at and being like, wait a minute, like, this guy's a lot better than maybe
Again, it's a fit. The certain players
exactly. It's just the opportunity sometimes. And the NBA is about opportunity. Like everyone in the NBA can play. Yeah, everyone's good. You play the Lakers and they're without Luka and LeBron, and Austin Rivers is going for 50 plus, and it's like it's because everyone in the NBA is good. Like you give guys in the NBA a chance, they might not necessarily win the game, but they're gonna put up numbers. Yeah. Like everyone can play.
Austin Reeves is a talented player.
He's a good player.
I mean, he's hit some shots. I'm like, geez, I've known that, but when you don't see the cast of characters like LeBron and Luka, and it's like the, for lack of a better term, Austin Reeves show, man, that guy has some serious talent. And we've known this, but just to see him like carry the load.
Part of it too, like when you wear that headband, like you look like you're like in this Revolutionary War, like the head wrap and the kid playing the drum, like that's what it always reminds me of. Like it's like he just looks a little disheveled and like, but it works.
It works for him.
Yeah.
But also, quick shout out to Caleb Love for his.
Shout out to Caleb Love for getting his first points. Yeah. Also shout out to Bruce Ely for a really good photo he took of Caleb getting off the bus the other night.
Bruce has been on his game. Yeah. And since we're talking about our amazing content crew, and I just right before we started this, I was down in my room and I was scrolling, and it showed a really cool video from our game last night, and it was like not one of the game cameras, and it was not the Trailblazers posting it. It was someone else, and it was like slow-mo, really close up, pass, and the camera's but gets to Shaden at the top of the key, drives in, pulls up his little floater, and someone had posted, what the actual blank is this camera? And so shout out to Tristan.
So that was on the House of Hoops account, which has like more followers than we have.
Yeah.
And that was Tristan shooting, and
it was House
Tucker
of Hoops.
Did the coloring on it as well.
Cool.
And I saw that that was from, I think it was from the Timberwolves game.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was. And it looked cool because we've been doing the smoke in the arena thing, and so the backdrop kind of looked like a smoke filled room, which always makes kind of the stuff in the foreground
poignant,
pop.
yeah.
And Tristan is obviously elite at shooting. They have very good depth of field cameras that pick up things really well. And it was cool. The way they put it together was so awesome. And I saw that a few days ago, and people were like, is this AI? And it's like, no, it's just.
It's the nicest compliment you give me is this AI.
Really talented videographers. So.
It was just funny because I watched the whole thing. I was like, that is really cool. I wonder. And then I saw Tucker's comment, this is the talented Tristan. Of course, Tucker didn't give himself credit. I didn't know that about that. I would assume now. I mean, that makes sense that Tucker would be part of it. But I just thought that was really neat. Yeah, it was. I didn't even know what game it was from. I was just so mesmerized by how well it was shot.
You talk about being old. Give me a 16:9 version, folks. I want the widescreen. I want the television shot of it. I don't want the TikTok. I don't want the Instagram.
Well, for one cool play.
I'm not saying I don't want those. Those should exist. 16:9 should also exist too, because I'm the guy who's still watching video on my phone, not vertical. So
understood.
And also, do the website stuff. I'll put that on the website. It's very good.
And you do that stuff. Everyone has their place.
Everyone does have their place. But let's run it down real fast here. As I mentioned, opening night, Timberwolves 118, Trailblazers 114. That was on Wednesday. Again, a game the Blazers led for the first 3.5 quarters.
Place was rocking.
It was awesome. The crowd's been great.
They've been awesome.
People are excited. I think it's been cool.
It's been really cool.
Blazers bounce back, get their first win of the season, 119 versus the Warriors. And the thing I thought that was cool about kind of Steve Kerr's comments in that is that when a team beats you, they're usually much more willing to be like, boy, they played really great. Yeah. Boy, these guys are really coming around. When you get beat, usually you're more like, yeah, okay. So the fact that he was like, no, and they were playing on the second night of back-to-back, and the fact that Steve Kerr was like, hey, did that help us? No. But we lost because they beat us.
Yeah.
They ran us out of the gym. And yes, we could have done some things better. And yes, playing an overtime game versus the Nuggets the night before and then getting into Portland. Yes, that's not the optimum situation for a good performance. but we lost because they ran us up and down. Mm-hmm. We could not keep up. And they're playing a brand of basketball right now that the Warriors kind of used to play, particularly defensively.
Steve Kerr is pretty good about that stuff.
He's always
not take like say the other coaches aren't, but he's always been pretty just like I don't say 50-50, but equal. Like he gives credit where it's due.
He's got good perspective, and also like he doesn't play the game. Like Steve Kerr says.
He says what he wants to say. He's not going to be led.
Yeah. Shout out to Steve Kerr too, because they get their catering from a Lebanese restaurant in Portland that I guess they've known the Kerrs for like years. I just thought she.
Oh, no kidding.
Which is one. It's really nice, but the reason that I'm mentioning it is because they always way over order, and so if you stick around at the end. Like she literally tried to give me an entire tray of chicken wings.
Oh, because she's at the arena.
She's at the arena.
Oh,
so she actually stays at the arena and like serves.
Oh, cool.
And like they usually leave kind of quick. Mm-hmm. And once everyone's gone.
Oh, how come you've never told me this trick of the trade? Because I'm doing the post game show. It's probably
not there. I do tell people in the media room. I'm like after I get my plate, I'm like, hey guys, there's wings in there.
Oh wow.
There's the lamb meatballs also very good.
Do you know the name of it? Can we give them a shout out? You can look it up.
I can
look it up while we talk.
I'll look it up here. Yeah,
because local and she's sticking around. That's nice.
True. Yeah,
because oftentimes, just because they're so accustomed to doing it, you usually sometimes go to like a bigger place. Sometimes like a steakhouse or something.
Yeah,
like
a lot of places will just do like El Gaucho and stuff.
Which
like that.
I love El Gaucho.
Yeah. Alamir.
In
downtown Portland for 30 plus years.
Yes.
Alamir Foods.
I went there the first year, I believe the first or second year I lived in, which is golly.
Yeah, she even posted on Instagram. So like, our relationship with the Golden State Warriors was way back. Yeah. So
that's a cute picture.
Yeah. And so they also make great wings, and I still have some wings in my refrigerator from the Warriors locker room. So thank you very much to the Warriors for your willingness to order large quantities of food and for not eating it.
Mostly for not eating it, though.
Yeah, mostly for leaving it for your boy. So.
Well, if I could, since we're talking fans, I have to talk about the fans on the road, which we do love to talk about, but even more so in LA. LA, the Clippers and Lakers are, even though they're very different feelings. They're different. I don't say fan bases, but like. Lakers, they're different. They're different.
I mean, the makeup of those two fan bases are different.
Yes, but I would say you always see Blazers fans wherever we go. But and this is no surprise, but the amount of course, I mean, Young Hansen crew. They showed on the Jumbotron. They do this thing with the Clippers game. You posted about it. I'm not a fan of it, but we can get to it. They show a couple and it says friend.
Oh,
It's a terrible game.
Absolutely not a fan.
And I think it's rigged, but friends, dating or married or whatever. And they show a couple, and in my opinion, I think they know. They have to know because they've already given their answer, so they know. But it was a couple, and they were dating. At the end, it said dating, and he was in a Clippers jersey, and she was in a Young Hansen.
She was in a Hansen, Kling-dong.
Yes,
Eagles, yeah.
And I knew it was from something, but someone posted it and said that. And I was like, that's really cute. That we got a little shout out in that video at the Clippers, which is on the biggest jumbotron in the world. But there were so many Hansen fans, obviously a ton of Deni fans, but a lot of like shade. Like, I mean, I'm getting kids like, where's Shade and where's Shade, which that's not new either, but just it's more like this year. It feels to me like more. And
Scoot has a bunch of fans.
Scoot has a bunch of fans.
Particularly with all of my friends who have kids, Scoot's their favorite.
Yeah, for sure. And that makes sense because that's the generation where they watched him get drafted. This, that makes sense to me. And then Lakers, there were a ton too. It's been fun because shout out to who's listening that were at those games, because I talked to a bunch of you that were like, where's Casey? Because they want to talk about Blazers balcony. So a lot of people that listen to it were at those games that live in LA, or some travel to it. Or maybe were there for vacay, but live in Portland. Just the amount of conversations I have when just walking out of the tunnel, them standing there waiting for their player. Like I met a guy that was almost in tears because Deni had stopped to sign his jersey.
Yeah, no, Deni fans.
It's a whole thing.
They're a different level too.
Yeah.
They love Deni.
They do. I heard after
he means a lot.
He does, and understandably so. And last night, apparently at the ramp after at crypto.com, fans, we've seen them for years. They stand at the top of that. And word was
they got to put an escalator in there or something.
Oh, I know. I walked all the way up there and that bus was gone. I had to walk all the way back down.
No.
I missed that bus. I don't know why I would have even thought it was still there. I was so late. And you and I were like the last 2 people to get on the bus. Well, you definitely were. But so apparently there were like hundreds at the top. I mean, I stopped before I got up there because someone's like, there's no bus up there. So I turned around and came back down. But everyone's like, Deni, can you hurry up? Because he wanted to go say hello. And his people were like, is he still in the locker room? Hundreds of people up there waiting for him. I was like, yeah, he's still in the locker room. Because he'd already talked to some people out in the hallway. It's just, I've never seen a phenomenon like it. And he is the first to say, yeah, where are they? I want to go talk to him. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, no, he goes out of his way to make time.
He does.
For people. Clippers 114, Blazers 107. Again, another game Blazers, probably should have. I felt more like they should have won that game than the Timberwolves game.
Really?
And because also too, like I even said at the time, like they were playing in the second quarter so well, and then they just kind of they didn't fall apart at the end of the first half, but like they allowed the Clippers to get a little momentum in the first half, and I was like, if they had played better for just like one more minute, I think in the first half, I think they would have won that game. But they just let their foot off just a little bit.
I just felt like if Ant Edwards hadn't been in that game, they would have won by 10.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, God, because when he hit those shots, if he just wasn't such an amazing scorer, I think that they could have won that game. But continue. Yeah. I digress.
And then second game of the back-to-back for both teams. Blazers 122, Lakers 108 on Monday versus a shorthanded Lakers team. But in a game too that like I don't think 122-108 gives a good impression of like the Blazers. Like they handily won that game, in my opinion.
I agree.
I didn't feel like there was ever a time maybe after like the first half of the first quarter where I was like, no, but Blazers are going to win this game.
I felt the same way,
and they did. So they're 2-2, one on the road, one at home, going into the game versus the Jazz on. I've already can't remember what day it is. Wednesday, 6 o'clock start time on KUNP Blazer Vision and 6:20 a.m. Number of individuals playing really well for the Trailblazers. Obviously, when you're winning games or when you're playing well, you got to have individuals that generally play well too. I think kind of the first guy you got to talk about is Jerami Grant. Sure. I think coming off the bench, not especially happy about having to come off the bench like no player generally is. But I think has kind of accepted that right now and is playing fantastic basketball. Like he is scoring, he's getting to the line. When you talk about kind of the way they want to play, Tiago had mentioned, after the Laker game about, the Blazers kind of want to be a 3-point shots or shots at the rim kind of team. And both Deni and Jerami are kind of guys who generally kind of will take some more mid-range shots. And, and he kind of talked about, like we've kind of asked Jerami to maybe kind of change his game a little bit in terms of offense and kind of what we're asking him for. And he is absolutely delivering. As of right now, 4 games into the season, Jerami is averaging 22.7 points on 59% shooting from the field, 50% shooting from 3, 2.3 rebounds and assists, and almost steal and almost a block a game. And so it basically, and particularly in that second unit that needs scoring, Jerami is providing it and providing it at a ridiculous clip. And again, like he's getting to the line, he's getting to the rim, his 3-point shot is going down. He is being aggressive, but he's not forcing things. He's playing within the motion of the offense, so not as much isolation as I think we've become accustomed to seeing Jerami play, and you understand why he was, but now that they're kind of trying to play a different way, it really seems like it's working. I think you really got to give a lot of credit to Jerami because
so much credit.
The way he's playing, and just like him at least tacitly accepting that role and going out and really doing a nice job in it.
He's responded beautifully, and the 3-point shot looks so good. And you talked about getting to the rim. I think it was it was either last night or the night before. I believe it was last night that he had a steal underneath their basket. So literally on their end of the floor, took it all the way up himself, kind of looked around as like going downhill, goes straight in as a reverse dunk. I mean, it was like he did the whole thing by himself. Steal coming down and everyone's running and he just like sees the defense, boop, boop, goes up and under, it was just gorgeous. And I've appreciated that he and the coaching staff has said Jerami is a starter. Like, they have 7 starters with Scoot, who's obviously not playing right now. So as someone who has played in the league a long time, who's a veteran, who has started on the team that you're not coming off the bench for, that takes a really strong it's professionalism for sure. But to say, this is my new role, and I'm not going to sulk. I'm not going to say, well, I didn't do very well because I'm just not used to coming off the bench. This is what I'm used to. None of that has
guys will always be like, I'm not saying that like they're pouting or missing shots on purpose, but it's always like,
well, I can't get into my rhythm. Totally.
And everyone else is going, and I got to kind of get up to speed. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's not difficult. Like, I'm sure it is, but that's the job.
Right.
Like, and so Jerami, you're exactly right. Like, I mean, I think part of it's because he's playing well, but like, he hasn't like been like, boy, it's because I'm doing this. And like, when he, in the first game of the season, he was getting some questions about coming off the bench, and, he was like, I think a little annoyed by it, which, you can understand it, when he was basically like, yeah, I didn't become a bad player because I'm coming off the bench. Like that was the part for me where it was like,
that was,
yeah, like,
I was watching that while we were doing the show, like, the questions were being asked and he was handling them so well, like a pro. I was just like, okay, let's move on. Because he's,
so it's a journalism thing where you ask a question, you get kind of an answer, and a lot of times you don't really even get an answer. So you ask the same question again in a different way. You know this, Brooke.
I do, but when I'm not there and I'm listening to it, I'm like, let's move on.
But what I'm saying too is that you do that twice. You don't go for a third.
I believe there was a fourth.
If the guy doesn't say what you want him to say after the second one, you got to keep it moving.
100%.
And if nothing else, and if you really feel like it's being withholding, then you approach the guy when he's not on the podium and he asks a question outside of kind of that situation. But otherwise, you're exactly right. It's like, let's move on.
Yeah, no.
So,
I couldn't agree more. But he's been great. Couldn't ask anything more from him. He's been incredible. Not just like fantastic. He's playing well for coming off the bench. No, and the coaching staff has said it's not necessarily who starts; it's who finishes the game. That's something that you hear all the time, but it's so true. And the rotations have been fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know who you're going to get out there. We've talked so much on the show about going small.
Yeah. Well, just real quick, I thought Tiago last night, he's like, you guys know my rotations at this point. And I was going to be like, no, I don't. I got a general sense, I think, but like,
no,
I don't know that you haven't been that other than to say like they're rotating guys in a lot.
No,
that's for sure.
And I think that it makes sense because the style of play they want to play. Get out there and run. You need a rest. You get a rest. The guys that are going out there are going to play at the same level that you are, the same energy and effort. So it's not a huge drop off. That's why the 10-man rotation. A lot of teams won't do that. And I think it's clearly working out great. And guys have come in refreshed. And I just think it's been really fun. And just the last thing on Jerami, that just he's a team guy. Just so everybody knows, if you had any questions, I feel like anyone in that position would answer the way he did. Well, of course I'd want to start, but like he's going to, anyone would answer that. Yeah. That's already started. I would say that.
I appreciate that Jerami is at least like honest about wanting to start because again, like the easier thing to do there would be to lie and say, whatever the coach wants me to do, like I'm, whatever they ask, I'll be happy to do it. I'm not saying he's not happy to do it, but I'm just saying that like you could say the PR answer and move on.
Yeah.
But like, at least he's being honest. And again, like as someone like it always bothers me when people get mad that people are honest. Like, and it happens fairly often. It's like, and particularly when journalists are like, why would you say that? It's like, dude, being honest, like you should want that out of someone you're talking to. Like
it's a no-win situation sometimes.
Why
for
do you want someone to blow smoke at you just so everyone feels comfortable about it? Like that's.
But I will say and with that too, he was honest in saying, yeah, I mean, I would prefer to start, but then he definitely followed that up with, but I will I will be whatever my team needs me to be. So he was honest, and he did say, I'll be a team player.
And he loves his teammates.
What else do you want him to do?
Like Jerry's been on this team for a while. Like he's a vet. Like he's looked up to. Like he is a good person. Like he's gonna want to play well for his friends too.
Totally.
So like I just hats off to Jerami. I feel like he's been great, and I think it's really gratifying. I'm really glad to see him and playing as well as he has been. Another guy who's played really well, Deni Avdija, as we mentioned. Another guy who, after starting last year kind of slow, has started this year just as fast. Yeah. I think we've had some stats out that I think maybe he came like one rebound. Yeah, he came one rebound away from, I think, being maybe the first Trailblazer to put up 25, 4 assists and 5 rebounds in the first 4 games of the season. He has been fantastic. 23 points per game right now and 48% shooting from the field, 37% shooting from 3, 82% from the line, 6.3 rebounds, 4 assists. That's 4 assists for Deni Avdija in 31.7 minutes. Just playing phenomenal basketball.
Incredible.
Really, really good on both sides. Really, the things that Deni does on offense, like being aggressive, being fast, like pressing the issue, he's doing on defense as well. Mm-hmm. Sharing the ball. I think Deni is really, really coming into his own as a player in now his 5th season, I think. So I think he's been fantastic.
I do too. And where Casey and I sit in at crypto, so against the Lakers, it's behind the basket, not in there's the courtside seats, and then there's a little walkway, and then we're 3 or 4 up. So we're rather close to that basket and right behind it, really, essentially. And so when the Blazers were scoring on that end, it's up and close and personal. So we were lucky to see Shaden's dunk up close and personal. Yes. And then Deni, there were so many when we know he's turbo. He's been turboing even more so. And then the way that it's just the thing of beauty, the way he can be going at Mach speed and then still have his whereabouts when he gets to underneath the basket where he needs to go and just finish so gently. He's going boom, 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 boom. And then it's all slows down as he's going up. And just watching it that close, I mean, we've seen it, but to see that there's 4 or 5 plays in a quarter that were just very similar, where he's just going so fast, and then he just has this body control and just feathers it up, and how does he do that? And he just does it with such ease. He makes it look easy. So just we got a up close and personal view of it that night, and I'm just gosh, this is really incredible. I really can't compare it to anyone else in the league.
No, I mean, he is a really as a forward, he's kind of like LeBron. He plays like LeBron plays. Yeah. Strength and fast and at the rim. And I mean, he's not LeBron, but that's if you're who does Deni play like? That's who I would say.
That's good.
And he's got he's got good size. And again, he's fast as hell. He's playing really good basketball.
I like that.
Now. And the other thing too, I don't know if they've been practicing this or not, but I feel that and I've noticed it a fair amount in the first 4 games. The amount of guys who are Euro stepping into a cross court pass, I feel like everyone is doing it on this team. They're selling that they're going to go to the rim, and then they're flipping the pass back to the 3-point line. And particularly in the Laker game, I feel there must have been at least 5 occasions of that happening.
I swear on that play that we're talking about that Tristan shot, I think that was an example of that. I have to go back and look, but no, you're right. Now that I think about it, I recall seeing that often. Interesting.
Yeah. No, it's just something I had noticed, and I was everyone seems to be doing that, so maybe that's something to work on. But yeah, I mean, Deni has been great. He had that little back thing, in preseason. Doesn't really seem like it's bothering him at this point. So he's on a really good run right now. And again, if he's able to, if it's 4 games, I'm just going to keep saying it's 4 games so I don't get people yelling at me on Twitter. But if both Deni and Jerami continue to play this well, obviously that means great things for the Trailblazers. But you're looking at Jerami being 6th man, and you're looking at Deni being most improved and or maybe
first or second team
all-star at least. So I mean, again, it's very early, but the way that they've played so far, and again, it's good competition too. That was the other piece that I think you have to, if they were going out there and, Lakers without a bunch of guys, okay, but it's still in Los Angeles. Both teams are playing on the second night of it back to back. It's Los Angeles. So that's not nothing.
No, it's not nothing.
And And so you beat the Warriors, a very good team. I mean, a Warriors team that I think a lot of people are picking as kind of like a dark horse to maybe come out of the West this year. And a Clipper team that, again, is very good, and you conceivably could have won that game. And a Minnesota team that, is going to be one of the better teams in the Western Conference this year. So, like, the fact that they're playing well against good competition and playing the way that they said they were going to play, again, I just think you feel really, really good about that. And I think, one of the reasons why they've, I think, gotten off to a pretty good start is also because of the veteran leadership of a guy like Jrue Holiday. He's really a guy who, that role has been missing on this team for the past couple seasons, and other guys kind of tried to fill it, and they did their best, but they're not Jrue Holiday, and I think, when the Blazers made that trade, people are like, well, Jrue Holiday. And again, like, talking about kind of perception, the perception being that, like, the Blazers are a young team who are tanking. Why are they getting Jrue Holiday? It's like, because they want to take that next step, and they're not tanking, guys. Like, I don't know how many times we have to tell you they're not right now. So he's been really good too. Like, I think, the first game, a little bit of a struggle, at least from the field, but ever since has been dynamic. Back home playing in LA, had 2 really good games, averaging 15.7 points on 42% shooting from the field, 32% shooting from 3. Both of those are already going up. 78% from the line, 8.3 assists, 5.7 rebounds, 1.3 steals in 31.7 minutes. So getting close to averaging a double-double points and assists, while also averaging almost 6 rebounds a game and 1.5 steals in 31 minutes at 16 seasons in the league.
Incredible.
That's some pretty good business.
Yeah, and we spoke after the Clippers game. Well, I've spoken to Jrue a lot in the last 24 hours. He was the pregame interview for the Lakers game and the postgame walk-off interview. But the night before, we talked to him in the locker room, and he's just so cool. He's just so cool. Like, unflappable, not too high, not too low, and just very sincere and genuine. So we were talking about, like, saying what they want to hear, or he could easily just say, no, happy to be here. It's, just, the normal stuff.
Yeah.
But he was asked, like, you and I were there, and there's a bunch of people in LA, and he was asked about this team, and he had glowing things to say. And then someone asked about his leadership, and I almost started crying. And I asked him about it pregame. He said it's an honor to be a leader for this team specifically. I was like, God, that's a really beautiful thing to say. It's an honor, because he's like, I love these guys. I'm here for them, no matter, in any way they need me. And it was just a great answer. And it's not something he just like, I think I'll say this. Like, it was clearly honest. And what a wonderful thing to say, because he's been honest too, saying, like, sometimes I don't know what the heck they're talking about. They're so young. He's like, I don't know what songs they're listening to. I don't know the words that they're saying. But that doesn't matter. That just means they have their likes and their interests, and that might be different from mine. We're at different stages of our life. That doesn't mean we can't be incredible teammates, friends, lean on each other. They can come to me with questions at all times. And I think it's like, there's stages in your career, in any career you're in, and especially in a professional sport where you're the rookie, you got a mentor, you got a vet, you're asking questions, then you're like finding your next step where, like, you're really thriving, and then, I mean, he's still thriving, but then, you're the vet now. And so there's just stages. And I really feel like he is just jumping onto this stage, like, not just accepting it, but like thriving in it. Like, yeah, this is the stage of my career, and I'm going to embrace it. And that's who I am on this team. And he really has. And the guys love him. How could you not? And he is a truly, not just definitely set by example leader. I mean, that's what he does, but also he is there. I mean, in the locker room, you can see him talking to guys. Guys go up and talk to him on the bench when they're in, and he's not, vice versa. So I just think it's a wonderful fit, and he believes the same. And so if anyone has any questions about that, I hope those have been answered by now.
Yeah. And I feel like he did a really good job of kind of being like, hey, I'm really happy to be here. And then, like, the other part too is when you see a team and you're like, hey, we're actually kind of good. Like, I think it makes you want to lean into that role a bit more as well. Cause you're like, hey, like, if I kind of can help lead this team, like, it's going to make us better. And, like, we could actually do something. And like, the whole idea that, like, well, kind of twilight of your career, it's like, hey, sure, but also like I'm still a really good player that can really help a team. And so like I really have appreciated kind of the way that Jrue has joined the team and really kind of ingratiated himself into it. Like I think he's done a great job. The other thing too that you talk about kind of like everyone playing for each other. I wanted to mention Donovan Clingan real fast because I feel like Donovan has
awesome.
really been playing great. Obviously had a really good game against the Lakers, against his old vet, DeAndre Ayton. He put up 16 and 14, 2 blocks, 2 assists, and a steal in 26 minutes in that win. But Donovan averaging 10.3 points on 59% shooting from the field, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, and a steal in 25 minutes. And only averaging 2.7 fouls as well, which is a really big deal. And the reason I mentioned Donovan, too, is because we used a quote with Tiago talking about how good he thought Donovan was after the game versus the Lakers. And, it was like our quote of the night that we put on Instagram. And Jrue and Tumani and a few other guys, they all reposted it on their accounts.
I love that.
Like, anytime guys does that, it's like they were actively thinking like, hey, he should get credit for that because he was good tonight. Like
he was, man.
And so for your teammates to like want to support you. And again, particularly like from a defensive perspective, it wasn't like, oh, Donovan had a great offensive game. He did have a good offensive game. But this team is more enthusiastic about doing things on the defensive end. And you can tell that, like, particularly guys like Jrue, guys like Tumani, who are very good defenders, like, they understand what it takes to be a good defender and they respect it. And so I think when they see Donovan go out and really, like, I mean, he's a great kid. Like, he's working hard all the time. Like, he really wants to be great. Like, he's about the right things. And for him to go out and have some success early, I think is for the other guys on the team, too. They're like, we want to make sure that, like, Donovan gets his credit.
Right.
He's doing great, and he's doing in a lot of ways, Donovan allows them to be a good defensive team, better than anyone else on the team. Yeah. Like him being in the paint and being able to really be that rim protector, like everything else defensively flows from that. Because if he's not there, and if you can get to the rim and finish around a guy or over a guy, all the other stuff doesn't really matter. So, like, I think the other guys recognize that. And it's always wing guys who generally kind of get viewed as great defenders. But Donovan is really coming into his own, and like he's just been really good. And so I appreciate the way that Donovan plays, but I also really appreciate that other guys are like going out of their way to make sure that they're praising Donovan for what he's done.
I love that. I love hearing that. Yeah, no, definitely. Like, and he's mentioned this. We don't have to continue to pound this, but it's true. Like, he came into camp in much better shape, and you can just see he's quicker on his feet. I asked him that the other night. I said, "Dude, have you noticed a difference in your movement and your pace?" He's like, "Absolutely. Like, I just feel like I can get places quicker and not fouling." I think that's completely part of that is he can get places quicker, so he's not a step behind. So he's trying to make up for getting a step behind and fouling, and it's just noticeable. And he said, it feels different out there, and to see that he's able to clean up the mess. It's essentially what you just said. Like, if there is a mistake made, like, well, at least Donovan's down there and gives us a fighting chance. And when it's been ingrained in him, to look for that block, obviously with his height that comes along with it. But like the coaching staff is like, we need Donovan blocks. Like that's your bread and butter. And so, yeah, he's been awesome defensively, but also offensively, he's been really aggressive. Yeah. I mean, on the boards, killing it, like putbacks. And there were times I would say last year, let's say he goes up for the ball, he gets it in a massive of opponents, right? There was some slapping, he loses control, or he gets, he brings it too far down, gets slapped out of his hands. He's so much stronger with it this year. Yeah. He has control over it. Like, I don't worry about that every time he gets a rebound, like not full control, but close to full control with hand slapping. He's done a really good job of maintaining control and then putting it back up. He had like 3 or 4 of those against the Lakers, I feel like. Yeah. And yeah, I've been really proud of him. And there's just a little bit of swagger to him this year. Like, he's getting into people, and he lit. It was really cute when you and I talked to him about playing against DA. He lit up. He's like, "That's my vet. I love him."
He loves DeAndre.
Yeah.
I mean, DeAndre is popular in the locker room. He's a good guy. I wish the best for DeAndre.
I saw him I don't know if you saw him.
I didn't get a chance to say hello.
Well, I saw him before I walked up the ramp to the bus, and then walked right back down. He was standing there. I believe he was talking to Dale, and And I was like, yay. And he's so funny. He's just a exclamation point of a person.
That's a good way to put it.
And he was like, what's up, girl? I'm like, how are you? And I, before I could even ask, I'm just like, I want to be like, how's it? Maybe this is, you shouldn't assume, but I thought maybe he would love the LA thing, because he's got the bling, he's always sparkling. And before I could even say like, how's LA life? He goes, I'm just trying to figure out this LA life. I was like, I was just going to ask you, how's LA life? He goes, Brooke, it's just, they're just eyes on you everywhere you go. You can't do anything.
Being something in DA.
And when you look, and DA, I mean, he sticks
to,
out.
Like being in Portland when like he had this place in
he was out and just
Washington
chilling.
And
He said like he said just walking into the arena at Crypto, like it's everywhere you look, like you can't just calmly walk to the locker room like you would at Moda Center. It's just cameras, like people. It's just, he just said it's a lot. I'm like, well, DA, I go, I hope you take this the right way, but if anyone will be able to figure it out, I think you'll be able to figure it out. Just give it some time. But it was funny, like before I could even ask him that, he's like, I'm just trying to figure out this LA life. It was good to see him.
That was good. Just to put a bow on Donovan too, since you mentioned how aggressive he's been as well. Taking 3-pointers a game and shooting 44%.
Let's go. 44% for a center.
I mean, if he takes three threes a game and averages 44%, Blazers are going to be in real good shape.
And he passed up a few I wanted him to take.
Yeah, I know. He always. I mean, like I'm always like, shoot it.
I know. I know. There was a couple. I was like, don't. He was looking around. I'm like, yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
I mean, I think he's probably done the smart decision. But
I don't always like that smart decision. I would like to
see him exactly be aggressive. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Blazers Balcony. Real quick, obviously, stuff with Chauncey is something that we're not going to discuss. I don't think either Brooke or I really have anything to say about it anyways, but that is obviously just something that we're not going to do. As the team is doing, please, the franchise put out a statement. You're more than welcome to check out the statement, and that's kind of where the organization stands on that, and Brooke and I as well. So, so I felt like we should at least mention it because obviously, it's happening, but just obviously not something that Brooke and I on this podcast are going to get into. And again, like I don't even know what I would have to add, even if was something we wanted.
No, and for the sake of the guys and the team, we move on. And acting head coach Thiago Splitter, that is, that's who's leading them right now. And a quick shout out to him. I was asked last night how it feels to be the first Brazilian acting head coach, and he said that he takes a ton of pride in that. So shout out to all our NBA fans in Brazil. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, I got the Thiago Splitter follow on Instagram too. By the way,
that's
why I saw that he had reposted a few things because I posted a photo of him and Hanson and Chris together, and he had liked it and then followed me, and now his wife follows me as well. So,
well, now I got to go take a picture of Thiago and post it. I'm just going to do a random one and be like, tag Thiago. That's funny. No, that's cool.
That is cool. All right, well, that is going to do it for this edition of the Blazers Balcony presented by Spirit Mount Casino. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we'll be back next week. More editions. I think we'll be home at that point in time. We set up the schedule, but I had already forgot what it was.
And my calendar is down in my room, so I can't help you with that.
So it doesn't matter. But either way, we'll be back next week. Blazers, once again, Wednesday versus the Utah Jazz, because we're in Utah, 6 o'clock start time. And then back home, day off, and then facing the Denver Nuggets on Halloween night. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's Friday. So
sure,
we'll perhaps see you at Moda Center then. I don't know if you guys are wearing costumes or not, but we'll see.
We talked about it. We haven't really done a lot on that front.
Particularly coming back from a road trip, it's like I got one day.
Yeah,
I gotta have to go. I'm actually. What I will say too is, I really hope the inflatables in my yard are still there.
Oh gosh, those inflatables!
I put them on a timer because the only reason I did is because like literally the night before we left, there was a family that walked by my house at night, and there was a kid. He must have been like 3 or 4, and I could tell he was so excited to see the inflatables. I'm like, he wasn't touching them. And I was like,
got to do it for the kids.
All right, like that made me feel really good. So I was like, I'll put it on a timer, even though I was like, there's like a 50-50 chance I'm going to get it home, and these things are going to be in the street. Or every time I get a phone call that's a robocall, in my head it's like, is Portland fire or police being like, hey,
oh no,
are you Casey Holdahl at this address because you need to get this stuff out of the way?
Well, I'll say a little prayer for you.
Hopefully that won't be the case. We're wrapping up. That's it. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace out.